Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our last morning together. And as we've been doing every morning this week, I'll settle us in or spark us off with a poem from one of the early Buddhist nuns. And today it's Sundarinanda, Joy of Beauty, who is speaking. One morning, after another long night, I was squatting on the toilet, watching it all come out. For the first time, I saw my body, not just how it looks, but what it does, turning what is dear into what is waste. I got up and started walking. As the sun was setting, I passed a graveyard. You, my sisters beneath the leaves. As I am, so you once were. As you are, so will I become. There I slept, and there I stayed, examining this mass of flesh and bones, contemplating the many masses of flesh and bones gently rotting just beneath the ground. Then one morning I saw what goes in must come out, not just the body, but the mind. What will you bring into the world other than what gets washed down the toilet? So at the end of yesterday's session, I presented this an acronym, RAIN, and one of the meanings, one of the ways of understanding the N is natural. It's a natural law, conditionality. Seeing the whole world of experience, internally, externally, on all levels, as conditioned arisings, empty of anything fixed, empty of anything permanent. This is pointing to this is the core teaching of the Buddha. Yeah. Pratitya samutpada. And out of this teaching, out of this wisdom, everything else arises. Now, during the meditation yesterday, as Virya D and myself were sitting here under the sloping roof windows, it started to rain. And the sound of rain entered into our microphone and was transported to your technology, which made contact with your ears. Pleasant, or I think mostly unpleasant, sound was registered, perceived as banging, which led to all kinds of thinking, stories, interpretations, emotional reactions, comments. From amusement, this was one story. It's Virya D sitting next to the microphone banging. So then a kind of fascination, they're doing it on purpose to create a particular meditation and provide us with this particular experience. Yeah? It's all part of the practice. To outrage, how can someone have unmuted themselves in the middle of a meditation to reproach? oh my God, I'm getting angry again. I can't bear it. And it's really getting on my nerves, this sound of the banging. Yeah. And it really served the purpose, because that is just the name of the game, a direct experience of conditionality giving rise to the birth of papancha. Yeah, so I hope you saw it. And I know that some of you in your groups explored a little bit the emptiness of all these reactions. And I hope you were able to let go of it and feel at ease. So I want to today, to round off this week, focus on conditionality and emptiness. We'll be doing this through practice. We'll be doing the element practice from the Satipatthana Sutta, following our Dharma sister, Sundari Nanda, who we just heard from. So before we do this practice, I want to just say a few words about it. We'll be doing it in a similar way to how we did the contemplation of anatomical parts, which was simplified into skin, flesh, bones. So this, again, mindfully and clearly knowing, flowing through the body, guided by a wisdom perspective. That's the approach. Of shining the light of awareness on the impermanent nature of the body, and the mind, body and mind, thereby seeing that they are empty of inherent existence, empty of anything that is unchanging or fixed. So in the practice, we are aware of and have a knowledge of the elements earth, water, fire, and air. In the Sutta and early Buddhism, the focus was on these four elements. And the elements in early Buddhism were identified via their principal qualities, not as independent entities. And this is relevant for how we will be relating to the elements. So we, as far as possible, we try to get an actual felt sense of the element, and we have to employ other methods too, imagination in some parts, or by knowing by implication or by reference. It's not always possible to have this direct experience of the elements in the body. The point here is we're not just thinking about the elements or reflecting on them. It's the same message, direct experience as far as possible, and knowing. So a few, kind of warm us up a little bit to the elements. With regard to earth element, the principal qualities of earth elements, just to mention a few, are hardness, stability, heaviness. And you can experience this right now in this moment. If you feel the teeth, hardness of your teeth, yeah, or you dig your nail in. It's not very kind, is it? Just feel your teeth, or the heaviness of the body on the ground, the touch there. Perhaps it's a bit hard under your bum, under your feet or your knees. Another interesting thing is a way of doing it is if you let your head hang, really hang, you experience heaviness. I find that quite fascinating. So there's no need to think, oh, what is earth? What is earth? Heaviness, directly there, immediate. Water element, principal qualities, wetness, fluidity, cohesion. So, of course, you can lick your lips, wetness. You swallow, fluidity, saliva gathering in the mouth. Yeah. Inferred is the blood in the veins. You know, inferred, we usually don't experience that directly. And cohesion, one way of experiencing cohesion is if you your lips are together and you very gently part them. And this kind of stickiness, the cohesion, yeah, where they hold on, the skin holds onto skin. Fire element, we can experience directly through heat, warmth, coolness, temperature. Yeah. It's also energy. So it could be as simple as the temperature of the air on your skin, you know, the parts of the skin that are not covered with clothes, or the coolness of the air entering your nose when you breathe, and the warmth when it leaves the nose. If you meditate after a meal, what you might experience there is the energy of the body digesting. Yeah, it's drawing the energy there. And then air. Air, principal qualities are movement, vibration, expansion, pushing, tension. This is actually what we experience in breathing. There's a pushing, there's an expansion, and then there's and then again there's a contraction. So the breath, the place here to experience it directly is in the breathing. Yeah. Expanding, air expanding in the lungs, or the belly rising, the abdomen rising and falling. Okay, so we'll explore this now in a meditation, in the mindfulness meditation. So if you want to make yourselves comfortable, but before you get too comfortable and before you close your eyes, I'll wait till you're all comfortable and settled. There are another couple of friends who've arrived today to join us in our practice. One you can see next to my shoulder. This is Boney, yeah. And this is Teddy, aka Curly Vati. Yeah, we're Vati sisters. I'm Prasadavati. This is Curly Vati. Yeah. And Boney lives here in this room, but has been off camera for for all of the time. Yeah. But I thought it would be nice to introduce you to Boney, because Boney, he's always there when my glance goes towards Boney. Boney is saying, see it as it really is. You know? And Curly Vati sits next to my head in bed, usually, right in the corner. And at the end of the day, when I'm lying in bed and I might just do a little gratitude practice, reviewing the day, and I say, what can I be grateful for today? And sometimes there might have been things I've been struggling with, or I have difficulty really relaxing, dropping off to sleep. So Prasadavati comes and I hold her right next to my heart. And I do a little self-compassion break like we did yesterday. And this is a direct reminder to hold my experience with love and with kindness. So I thought it'd be good to have them with us in this practice today. So Prasadavati is now going to sit on Boney's lap. Well, a little bit under the ribs. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You see that? All right, so we're all ready now. So settling and relaxing into the body with kindly awareness. And just as the body rests on the cushion, let the mind rest on the body. Grounded in the present moment. turning towards the body, inhabiting it. And turning our attention now to the presence of earth element in the body. Beginning with the head, there's some earth element there, experienced as solidity, hardness, heaviness. The neck, earth element. One shoulder, earth element. Upper arm, earth. The lower arm, earth. The hand, fingers, earth element. The other shoulder, earth. Upper arm, earth. lower arm, earth. And the hand and fingers, earth. The top half of the trunk, the front, sides, the back. Some experience of solidity, hardness, heaviness, earth element. The lower half of the trunk, earth. One hip, earth element. The upper leg and knee, earth element. The lower leg, earth. And the foot, earth element. The other hip, earth. upper leg and knee, earth element. The lower leg, earth. And the foot, earth element. Aware of the whole body and earth element manifesting in this body. Knowing and understanding that earth element inside this body is just the same as earth element outside, in other people, nature, and the world around us. It's not special to me. I can't truly own it or control it. It's not me or mine. It's empty. Empty of self. So why identify with it? Why cling to it? And now turning to the water element. Just lightly aware, knowing water element in the body. Using this flow of awareness as we move through the body to focus the mind, to establish mindfulness, and to sharpen our wisdom perspective. Starting at the foot where you left off, water element. Knowing there is fluidity there, cohesion, wetness, inferred by the presence, the knowing of blood, bodily liquids. The lower leg, water. The knee and upper leg, water element. The hip, water. The other foot, water element. Lower leg, water element. The knee and upper leg, water element. And the hip, water. Water element in the lower half of the trunk. Upper half of the trunk. One hand, water element. Lower arm, water. upper arm, water. And the shoulder, water element. The other hand, water element. The lower arm, water. Upper arm, water element. And the shoulder, water element. Neck, water element. The face and head, water element. Aware of the whole body and of water element manifesting in this body. Knowing, understanding that water element inside this body is just the same as water element outside. In other people, in nature, in the world around us. It's not special to me. I can't truly own it or control it. It's not me or mine. It's empty, empty of self. So why identify with it? Why cling to it? Becoming aware now of the fire element, the quality of warmth, coolness, energy, radiation. Some sense of fire element in the face and head. Neck, fire. Both shoulders, fire element. Upper arms, fire. Lower arms, fire element. Hands, fire. The upper half of the trunk, fire element. Lower half of the trunk, fire element. Both hips, fire. Upper legs and knees, fire element. Lower legs, fire. And the feet, fire element. Aware of the whole body and the fire element manifesting in this body. Knowing, understanding that fire element inside this body is just the same as fire element outside. In other beings, nature, world around us. It's not special to me. I can't truly own it or control it. It's not me or mine. It's empty, empty of self. So why identify with it? Why cling to it? And then turning to the air element. Relaxing any straining, any pressure. Allowing this mindful flow to be light, carried by interest, curiosity, but not force. Some manifestation of air element in the feet. Vibration, movement, expansion, pushing, tension. The lower legs, air element. Knees and upper legs, air. Both hips, air element. Both hands, air. Lower arms, air element. Upper arms, air. The shoulders, air. Lower half of the trunk, air element. Upper half of the trunk, air element. Neck, air element. Face and head, air element. aware of the whole body and of air element manifesting in this body. Knowing, understanding, air element inside this body is just the same as air element outside. In other beings, nature, the world around us. It's not special to me. I can't truly own it or control it. It's not me or mine. It's empty, empty of self. So why identify with it? Why cling to it? Just as this body is empty of anything unchanging, so too is the mind. You find yourself now caught up in a distraction, in a story, in an opinion. It's just the mind making contact, feelings bubbling up, and perception creating a mirage, like a magical illusion. Empty. And now relaxing into a few minutes of open awareness. Still present. Very receptive, open. Allow your mind to become soft. Whatever manifests at any of the 6 sense doors arises and passes away again. Relax into the softness of the mind, the openness of the heart. Give up all trying. It's enough just to be now. And we end this meditation by turning to gratitude. Gratitude to this body, which is a miracle. It makes it possible to lead a human life, to change, to grow, to practice the Dharma. Gratitude for everything it enables us to do. This human body, more precious than the rarest jewel. Treasuring it, taking care of it. Honoring it. It's all about letting go into emptiness and entering the fullness of compassion. So we'll have a 15-minute break now and come back at 12:30 or 11:30 your time. Okay, so in this last half hour this morning, I'm going to pull a few threads together and round off this part of the retreat. So it's been an adventure. It's been quite a journey. Hope for you too. I hope a fruitful, a rich, happy journey. The journey we've been on is just following the path of mindfulness and developing a fuller understanding and experience of its potential. By not trying to create special experiences or big experiences, but letting mindful presence, mindful aliveness, awakeness become more and more of our default position. That's what we refer to, that's what we stand on. Yeah. And we've held the golden thread of the refrain, practicing through the eyes of the Buddha, applying the teachings, the wisdom, perspectives to everything. We have had a thread of kindness, kindly awareness throughout this week, and the afternoons with Maitrimala, which I've heard many of us just loved. Yeah, the body scans, the different metta practices, relaxing into our experience, releasing the resistance, stepping out of struggle, yeah, and getting a taste more for self-metta, self-compassion, how important that is. And in the evenings, we had our heart practices with Hiriadi and Maitri Siddhi and the Taraloka community. And I have to say, they were a delight. That's the word that comes to mind. They were just a delight. I felt connected with you. Although I have to say, I felt connected most of the time with our Sangha community, but there was something about these evening practices just carried by joy, delight, sense of Sangha practicing together. And we've been treading in the footsteps of the Buddha with everything we've done this week, inspired by other women practitioners as well. So the poems of the Therigatha have accompanied us, those wise women, and all the time we've been inclining our minds to that which is wholesome, to beauty, goodness, and truth. I'm going to try and give you a sort of pith image of the Satipatthana practice as I experience it at the moment, as I understand it. And before I do that, I'd just like to read you a quote from Bhikkhu Bodhi, talking about, it's a comment on the Satipatthana practice, about the path and the goal. Liberation is the inevitable fruit of the path and is bound to blossom forth when there is steady and persistent practice. The only requisites for reaching the final goal are two: to start and to continue. If these requirements are met, there is no doubt the goal will be attained. The great gift of this amazing discourse, the Satipatthana Sutta, is that it shows us the way. Very encouraging, isn't it? So what I get more and more interested in is the how. How to apply the practice. I'm convinced of its worth, of its value, but how to apply it. And that's, I hope I've been able to communicate some of that during this week. And I'll share my screen with you now to kind of present what I see as a little bit of a summary. That's it. Ooh, very big. Okay. Oh, then I can just scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. So I'll scroll back down again. I don't know what you're seeing on your screens, but I'll start with the clear. And what I value about Satipatthana is this clarity. And this is maintaining steady awareness of changing phenomena by being with your experience in a relaxed, receptive, kindly, non-judgmental way with a sense of wonder. So changing phenomena in the body, in feelings, in the heart, mind, in reality. So that is one quality that we bring to this practice, and which this practice also helps us to develop. And now the other two qualities, scrolling down, are warmth. Yeah, we need to practice kindly. And this is what we've been doing by befriending our experience, moving in closer, being interested, and becoming intimate with what's actually happening. So with this warmth, it's not, we haven't been dissecting experience, analyzing it from the head. It's a heart practice, you could say, which doesn't appear to be at first sight. And then there's the wisdom aspect, the bottom line, without grasping attachment or aversion, not clinging. Yeah. And yeah, I think this kind of sums up the practice for me, these three qualities: wise, warm, clear. Okay. I'll be posting that on Padlet later on, so you'll have it. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to just mention a source of inspiration for me, which I've already talked about during the week and by implication, and this is Bhikkhu Analayo's research and personal practice of Satipatthana. And he has now, in this latest practice book, kind of developed a way of doing it all in one practice, which is quite something. And so he selects aspects of the first Satipatthana, which we've actually done, apart from a deeper death contemplation. But, if we really want to gain liberation, focusing, especially in meditation, on the weakening attachment and identification with anything, the whole mind, body, heart system, and also developing more emptiness perspective. So anatomical parts, the elements, death contemplation, in meditations as the first Satipatthana. And then, of course, there's Vedana. And in the third Satipatthana, which we've all also spent time with, the heart, mind. And in the fourth Satipatthana, which that has been our golden thread, the refrain takes up and communicates this the right view, the wisdom aspect. And what Analayo does there is the fourth Satipatthana, if you've read the sutta or you're familiar with it, you'll see everything's packed in there. Yeah, it's the sense bases, the skandhas, the Four Noble Truths, whatever, can't think of them all now, and the hindrances and the awakening factors. So, and this is what I find exciting, actually. Analayo simplifies the fourth Satipatthana to hindrances and awakening factors, and he juxtaposes these two. So saying, look, it's about transforming the mind and the heart. So pay attention in the way we've been doing to the hindrances to awakening. Pay attention to the beautiful factors, the awakening factors of the mind. So honing in on the wholesome and unwholesome, which in a way is takes us to the bottom line of our practice. Yeah, wholesome, unwholesome. So there's ethics, there's meditation, and there's wisdom. It's kind of all in there. I just want to acknowledge my inspiration, especially for the couple of meditations we've done. The one we did this morning, the elements and the anatomical parts, was inspired by Analayo's research there and his innovative approach. And finally, there was a question earlier on about the difference between Anapanasati and Satipatthana. And I think this is the right time to just briefly address this now. Basically, Anapanasati has a clear, one could say, linear structure, these 16 stages. Whereas Satipatthana, as we've seen this week, you can go in wherever you like. You can go in via the body. You can go in via Vedana. You can go in by a mind reflection. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. You could just focus your whole practice on the first Satipatthana, on the body contemplations, or make a priority the mind in the way we've been doing. So it's different. It's a different. It then takes a different place, I think, in our lives, because Satipatthana can be practiced off the cushion, especially at the body contemplations, breath, posture, activities. But in a way, everything, we've always got everything with us, our body, our minds, our hearts, our senses. It's always there, whatever we're doing. I mean, this is the beauty of Satipatthana. And the Anapanasati, of course, takes the breath as orientation. That's the basis, and the other reflections come in. And in Anapanasati, the letting go is emphasized at the end of each tetrade with the out breath. Anyway, there's a lot that could be said there. I think what I find important to take on is that our practice is relevant for all areas of our lives. It's not just about meditation practice. And for example, the element practice we did this morning, you could do that very simply as a walking meditation. Experimenting with the 4 elements in just a step. Yeah? Connecting, being aware of the hardness, the solidity of the ground, the fluidity, cohesion of the body as it moves. Yeah? Moving as one, sort of coordination. Yeah? Temperature, motion. Yeah? So we can be very, very creative with this practice. And it can be as simple as, let me just know this breath. Let me just know and experience this next step. Let me just know and experience this moment in time. And that could just be your mantra. Each step, each breath, each moment. So not rushing forward into what's next on your list. So of course I'm going to end this part with another poem. And this is Patachara's 30 Nuns. Farmers take grain from the earth and branches from the trees. They crack open one with the other and take what's left to feed their families. You are all like unripe grain. Take time to grow. Then leave the ground behind and let your husks be stripped away. I promise, less is more. So Patachara told us. So we sat on the ground like unripe grain. We gave ourselves to the path, and the path broke us apart. What we feared most is now seen for what it is. True peace, freedom. All that broke apart was the darkness we had for so long been calling our whole world. So I'm going to conclude now, first of all, by expressing my gratitude. My gratitude to Taraloka for hosting this retreat, for encouraging me to do it online, which I really didn't want to do, for setting it up, for making it possible. I'd like to thank the team. Viriadi has been sitting at my side all this week. You haven't been able to see her most of the time. And for Maitri Mala and Maitri Siddhi in Taraloka, the whole Taraloka community. It's quite something to hold an online retreat. I kind of think it's a lot more work than just being in a place and being on retreat. So I'm grateful that you have all taken part too. I'm grateful that you've stayed with it, that you've undertaken this journey. So sadhu to each and every one of you. And, sorry? Thank you. Yeah, she's also my memory. Yeah, she's got a much better memory than me. And I'm also grateful to the 5 other Dharmacharinis who led groups during the week. Yeah, and them saying, yes, I'll give up this time this week, I'll join the retreat, so that you could all have a group. Extremely generous. So thank you all. Thank you all. And I have to say, the reason in the end why I said yes to doing this retreat online was for Taraloka, because I know that Taraloka has no other source of income at the moment. So I'm making a dana appeal now on Taraloka's behalf. I would have done it anyway. It's the only income they get is from the donations for these online retreats. That's all they've got. And it's the only money that's keeping Taraloka going. And we don't know for how long that's going to be the case. I think definitely till next April, if I remember correctly. So maybe you've already given, maybe you would like to give more. Yeah, just don't think twice. If you feel this welling up of gratitude, some of you talked about it from the meditation yesterday, just let it flow in the form of money to Taraloka. They need it, they need it. And they're offering us a great service. So it could be a one-off, it could be a standing order for the next while, for the next few months, for the next year, to tide them over, to keep them going, to keep this precious resource, this jewel of Taraloka alive and available to women on all levels, wherever they are in the path. So at the end of this session, there'll be a link in the chat for you to then, the link is already coming up for you to make a donation or a standing order. Give what you can. And if you can't give any more than you've already given, that's fine, that's fine. It's not a problem. Okay, so that's all I have to say. That's all I have to offer at the moment. And I look forward to seeing you all this afternoon in the closing ritual. Okay.
And seeing as we've had thank yous,